everyone. It's your friendly neighborhood art teacher here to show you how to do this week's assignment. So you are going to start with the paper designated as your front cover paper. You should have 2 sheets in your packet, and they're about 6.5 by 7 inches wide by 11 inches long. You're only going to need one of them this week. And I'm going to get a piece of paper to put underneath it because I am dealing with Sharpie here and I don't want to get it on my table. So you might be smart to do the same thing. You are going to draw your name from one side to the other. And I say sign your name because you're going to do it like a signature, like you were writing on a check. So I'm just going to take, this is not the best marker. You guys all have brand new markers. And I'm going to drag it all the way from one side to the other. So you notice that it touches 2 sides of the paper. I'm going to do it again. That was my first name. So now I'm going to start with my second name, my last name. And it's okay if it goes off the edge. And I'm going to make it really big, and I'm just going to draw right through. So there, that says Sylvia. And I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to keep turning and changing it. I could change the style of letters that I'm writing. As long as they're all connected. It doesn't work very well for what you're going to do for the next part if your letters are not connected. But they can go off the edge of the page. You can add some flourishes and some curves and things like that. Don't put anything too close to the outer edge that you really care about, because some of this is going to be folded over. Not a lot of it, but some of it will. And I'm kind of looking at my negative spaces. Right now I'm getting a group of things put together there, which is kind of cool. My Sharpie's really not the best. And you want to do this enough times that you're breaking up the space into smaller shapes. And I'm going to do 2 more. And I'm trying to keep turning it so that some are upside down, some are right side up, some are in the middle. And I'm not worrying too much if the space gets really crowded in any one place. So there, now I have my space broken up into smaller shapes. What I want to do now is choose one of them to make thicker. And I think I'm going to go back to that very original one that I did. And I'm going to draw over it to make it wider. This would be so much easier if I had a fully charged Sharpie. But that's all right. And what this is going to do is it's going to give you an axis line of movement across your page. And it's also going to sort of create emphasis to draw your eye to this part of the image. Whereas before, because everything was the same size, you know, it all kind of carried the same weight. It all kind of looked the same. And variety, as they say, is the spice of life. And that's true in art. Having contrast creates interest in a piece of art. So if you don't really know how to do cursive, that's okay. You can do printed letters and then just connect them all. So I'm being careful. I'm not scribbling this. I'm really trying to make sure my edges are smooth. I'm filling it in solidly. And I'm almost done. And once I get this done all the way across, I'm going to choose a few colors of marker to add some contrast and some interesting areas of accent to this. Whoops, too big. in your packets, I gave each of you some, high quality markers. Hopefully they're all still full of ink. And I'm sorry I didn't have enough to give everybody a full set, so I just chose like 4 or 5 markers per person, and I tried to make it so that the colors looked like they'd be pretty good together. If you have more markers at home that you want to use, that's absolutely fine too. So that's step 1. And step 2. So now, using no more than 3 colors of marker, I want you to add color to some of the spaces created by these lines. Don't color in more than 50% of the page. Okay, so about half of it should be left white. And what you're going to do is use this color as a way to direct the viewer's eye around the piece. So if I'm putting blue here, then I want to think about where would be another place and the next interesting place to put it. If I want to go opposite this line, I might find it interesting to put some blue here. And I'm going to try not to go over my black lines. I want those black lines to show. I might have to go over them later with another black. So now it's going to head me up into this direction. So you can think about how you're adding your accent colors as another way to move people's eyes around a piece. And you can also have like larger areas of color. Obviously the small ones are like easier to do. So I can turn this shape into a color. And I would work with that color for a little while and then switch to another color. My next color is going to be silver because I happen to have a silver Sharpie here. And I think it'll look cool with this blue. I'll finish coloring that later. So I'm actually gonna put my silver one right next to this color, see what it does. And then I'm gonna find more spots to put the silver. The reflective colors really do different things. And remember, you can color right up to the edge. One of these sides will be folded over, one will not. And both of these will be folded over a little bit. So, go close to the edge, but think about too what it looks like a little further in from the edge. So the assignment says no more than 3 colors. I also have this set of markers with me, although they're very fine point, so it will be a challenge to color in with them. But I can take something like this orange, and I know that orange and blue are complementary colors, which means they're going to look really good together and they're going to make each other pop. So I'm going to put this orange next to that blue. And then it might be kind of cool to color this whole space in orange as well. So every time you add color to a piece of art, it changes it. It changes the movement. It changes where people look. It changes the contrast. So I want you to be thoughtful as you add color. Try not to think about it like a coloring exercise, like a coloring book, but just look at, one color, pause, add another. You can think about balance, like symmetrical balance, but I think that's going to be a challenge to do with something like this because your names are all over the place. Sometimes asymmetry in a piece of art is more exciting than symmetry. All right, and when you're done with this, you are going to take a photograph of it and you're going to upload it to Canvas. Make sure you take a look at the place on Canvas that says self-assess. It's not anything you have to do in writing, but it's just sort of like a way to double check and make sure you've done all of the steps and you've sort of done them to the best of your ability. So if I darken up these lines, which you shouldn't have to do because you guys have brand new markers, but it makes such a big difference. It's hard to go over a silver. And there you have it. That's your assignment for this week. Later on, we'll work together to actually put them on your sketchbook covers. Let me know if you have any questions.